Welcome to Craft Shop, Brad here. Today I am going to be trying something out that I have been curious about for quite a while, and that is dyeing leather with wood stain. I have 4 sheaths here, 4 knife sheaths, all ready to be dyed. Totally ran out of dye, so I am kind of improvising here. I've heard of people using wood stain before. I've heard good things, I've heard bad things. Today, I'm gonna find out for myself. All right, this is the stain that I'm using for the project. It is Minwax Dark Walnut is what it looks like. It's kind of hard to read this one, but I'm not sure if this is oil-based or water-based. I believe Minwax sells both products. Yeah, it's really difficult to read this, but if you can read it, this is what I am using. So let's go ahead and get this lid off. All right, so I guess I'll give this a good mixin'. All right, let's go ahead and throw this on. I've just got a scrap piece of leather here. I'm not gonna throw this on a sheath because I have no clue if this is even gonna work. And I don't wanna soak the sheaths, you know, because they are already water molded and I don't wanna, you know, ruin that process. We'll just kind of do this section here. That way I can experiment with other stuff here if it doesn't work. Well, it looks to be taking the color. It is on there pretty thick, but I'm not gonna let it sit too long. I just wanna see if this works. And take a look at that. Most of it is gone. It definitely gained some color. I wonder if it has to sit there longer than a normal leather dye. Let's just get it on thick there. All right, I'm just gonna go ahead and leave that for a couple minutes and see if it really soaks in and darkens up a little bit better. All right, so I just dug out this Ebony 2718 Minwax wood finish, and I can read back here. Minwax wood finish is a penetrating oil-based wood stain, so it is oil-based. I'm sure this one is over here too, but let's go ahead and just try to throw on some of this ebony and see if we can get a color out of that. I'm still letting this one dry here, or not dry, but kind of, you know, sit a little bit longer. Now I'm not really going for an ebony look with these sheaths, but what I get on leather might be completely different from what I get on wood. We'll just let that sit there for a little bit. All right, I've got one little spot left. I'm gonna go ahead and use, this is Woodsman Wax. This is the product that we put out through our company. We actually use this for just kind of like the final touch, and we actually buff with it too to finish our sheaths. But I have in the past used only Woodsman Wax, and it's actually darkened up the leather quite a bit. And one other thing I did was when it was on thick, just kind of thick like that, is I applied some heat with a blowtorch, and the thick spots darken up a little bit less than the lighter spots, and you kind of are left with a cool pattern. So I'm gonna see if I can kind of recreate that here. It's been a while since I've done this. And you can definitely do this with a heat gun too, but blowtorch is more fun. Just gotta be careful not to like burn the leather. Ooh, I accidentally smeared some of that dark walnut. Oh, I just did it again. All right. Well, this is kind of a dark walnut too over here. But that's actually kind of a cool finish itself. So if these don't work out, I might just go with the Woodsman Wax and a little bit of heat, because I do enjoy that finish. The ebony actually kind of soaked in and dried here. You can see that's basically the finish you get with that. But this is still on here pretty thick, this dark walnut, so let me find a dry spot on this rag. We'll go ahead and wipe this off. Still pretty light. Not as light as before, but it's definitely a lot lighter. So if you just want to go with like a tan color, I'm a little color deficient. You'll be able to tell better than me, but That's not bad. I mean, I think it's a little bit more interesting than just the plain veg tan leather. I am a big fan of real patinas though. I mean, it is really cool to have a sheath from start to finish that starts off veg tan and ends up looking like this. Well, I kind of just wanted to give this a try and see if this actually worked. Now I know. I think I'm gonna go ahead and stick with the Woodsman wax for the sheaths that I'm doing today. But I'm sure there are some stains out there that would work for this. Like I've said before, I've heard good things and I've heard bad things. I'm sure that's just a matter of what people have chosen to use. All right, so I dug out one more tin. This is Minwax's paste finishing wax, and it is the special dark. I've used this on wood. I have never used it on leather. So could go well, could just not work at all, but at least we'll know after this. So let me grab my rag. We are all out of paper towels here, so this one rag has kind of been like our savior the last couple weeks. And we also don't have much scrap leather here because we moved all of our leatherworking stuff to a different location because the shop has been pretty full lately and we're trying to expand on our tools. This is still on here pretty thick, but it seems like it's darkening it up a bit. Actually, this area almost matches this area. All right, let's wipe that off. That actually gave kind of a cool finish. It's definitely lighter. I mean, it's a lot lighter than the wax is, but if you're looking to just add a tiny little bit of color, so you don't have that like white veg tan look, this actually might be a good option. I imagine you'd then have a good like wax finish. You could probably buff this afterwards. I'll just do this strip right here. Works pretty well for a light little bit of color if you don't want anything crazy. I wonder if you can keep adding in the same spot to darken it up. It actually seems like it's darkening up here a bit. Let me go ahead and get this off. Get this thickness off. Let's see if I can just kind of buff it with this rag a little bit. So that's got kind of a cool look to it. I can see myself using that on something in the future. It's not quite as dark as I want. Here's a look at it next to the Woodsman wax. So this is the Minwax paste finishing wax. This is the Woodsman wax. This is the ebony stain. And I guess the dark walnut stain is kind of in here as well. You get the same color with the paste finishing wax, just not as dark. All right, so I've got this one all ready to go. I'm gonna go ahead and do the Woodsman wax finish. This sheath you can see has gotten pretty dirty over the last couple hours. It's been laying around at the shop. So I think the more traditional and dirty, grungy look that Woodsman wax will give it will kind of work well for it. I mean, any flaws will just kind of give it character at that point. So let's go ahead and get started. And one thing I always do, I didn't do this before, but I started doing it, is making sure all of my holes were all either punched or drilled out. That way, when I cake on this wax, it'll kind of fill all these holes, and then when I go to stitch it, I do usually use a waxed thread, but pulling it through that wax is just gonna kind of coat that thread all the way down and just give it that much extra protection. So let's go ahead and start waxing this up. This tin is a bit thick because it's been left open for a few days, but this should still rub in no problem. And I'm not making this video just to show off our product. This stuff is actually pretty easy to make. I'm not gonna tell you all of our secret ingredients, but for the most part, beeswax, boiled linseed oil, that kind of stuff. And you can kind of come up with a good mixture like this that just works fantastic. All right, so I've got this coated pretty well. Might add a little bit more, but I'm gonna go ahead and throw some heat on there just to let this kind of melt up and really take hold of that leather. And I'm being careful not to burn the leather. If you get it too hot, then the leather gets really hard and it's just not fun to work with. I'm not a pro at this. I'm not a leather worker by any means. I am just a knife maker that makes sheaths. So my knowledge doesn't really go beyond my own trial and error. But I'm happy to answer any questions that I can if you guys have any, and always looking to improve on my skills. So if you have any tips for me, please throw them my way. I'd love to hear them. But you can kind of see this dyes the sheath pretty unevenly because obviously I'm a human being. I'm not gonna have this spread out 100% perfectly. It's thicker in some areas, so it kind of gives that rougher, more rustic look, which I'm kind of going for on this project. And if you have any tins of woodsman wax, or you kind of make a mixture like this and it gets all clumpy, I've got some thicker areas in here, you can just throw some heat on there or stick a lighter underneath and it'll kind of just settle down to the bottom and it'll be basically a new tin again. Well, I kind of just want to give that a try. I'm glad I did because now I know. If any of you have experimented with wood stains or anything like that on leather, please let me know what your results were, what worked, what didn't. I would love to hear it. Hopefully some of you found this video helpful, and if you did, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.